Gossart Vincent has written an article or a book. It's a book, The Beef Taboo in China: Agriculture, Ethics, Sacrifice. Honolulu, University of Hawaii Press, 2025. This year it's come out. So this book claims that there was a strong beef taboo in pre-modern China. So can we say that Hindus have preserved their food taboos better than the Han Chinese? Let's Google this. So we have this book that's come out this year, and let's see the book all over again. So this is the book, and it says, so this is by Vincent Gossart and Barbara Ambrose. The Beef Taboo in China: Agriculture, Ethics, and Sacrifice. So, what does the book description say? The beef taboo in China explains how and why, around the turn of the second millennium, the Chinese determined. The turn of the second millennium means around 1,000 years before today. Okay, so around the turn of the second millennium, the Chinese determined that cattle should not be slaughtered or eaten. This taboo remained prevalent until the beginning of the 20th century, and it is still observed by some Chinese people today, which means that until the early 1900s, they still had the beef taboo. Gossart situates this prohibition within evolving Chinese attitudes towards animals and meat, and he juxtaposes the taboo with vegetarianism and other forms of meat ethics. He argues the emergence of this specific practice must be understood in several contexts, notably a new agricultural economy and ecology in early modern times that protected plow cattle and marginalized pastures, sacrificial reform that eliminated beef as the standard offering to gods and spirits, the development of Taoist rituals, cults, and moral theology that tabooed beef and made this observance a linchpin of Chinese civilization. It's very interesting that this author, I mean, I've not seen the book. It looks like there is no mention of the Indian influence in China, because China was majorly Buddhist for a long, long period of time. Even today, China has the world's largest population of practicing Buddhists. It's interesting that this book doesn't mention the Buddhist or Indian influence at all, right? Yeah. So anyway, so it's clear that for 1,000 years, eating beef was a taboo in China. Now let me show you something else. Let me show you a different story. Okay, let's go to Google and let's talk about Japan. Okay, was beef taboo for the samurai? Was beef? Yes, beef consumption was taboo for samurai and for the general population of Japan for a significant period due to religious, Buddhist, and practical reasons. A ban on eating cattle was first imposed in 675 AD and was strictly enforced until the Meiji Restoration, until the 19th century. 1500 years the Japanese did not eat beef. And the Emperor Meiji himself consumed beef to modernize the country. Look at what was done to Japan. Exactly what you're seeing in India today. Eating beef is a sign of modernity. Yeah? Modernity. So the Meiji Emperor, the guy who attempted to eradicate dharma from Japan, he's the guy who ended the prohibition on beef. And because he consumed beef and he's the divine emperor, that's why everybody was encouraged to start eating beef. And today, the Japanese people, most of them, they eat beef. But for about 1500 years almost, the Japanese would not touch beef. The samurai, the great warriors, do you know what their diet was? Samurai. Yes, samurai diet. There you go. What did they eat? They would eat fish, yes, but they would not eat any other meat. Primarily plant based, mostly vegetarian. They would have rice, miso soup, pickled vegetables, seafood, and seasonal fruits. They would eat fish. So the samurai were like the Bengalis. You see, the Bengali people, most Bengalis who eat fish do consider themselves vegetarian. Fish is the fruit of the sea, apparently. So the samurai diet was primarily vegetarian. They would eat fish and seafood, no red meat, definitely no beef. So whether you look at China, whether you look at Japan, there was a complete taboo on beef. The Japanese civilians were mostly vegetarian for the longest time. Let's look up that also. Japan vegetarian. Japan historical veget- vegetarian history. Let's look at that. History of meat consumption. Japan's history with vegetarianism is rooted in Buddhist consumption influence, a period of restricted meat consumption from 675 CE until 1872. So the whole of Japan was like that, not just the samurai. They would eat fish, but apart from that, it was mostly vegetarian food. No red meat, no birds, no livestock. This is all Indian influence. All Indian influence. And today, let's look at India today. Eating beef is a sign of being modern. I have nothing against protein. Eat protein, yeah, sure, absolutely. You need sufficient protein, and I would encourage all Indians to consume sufficient protein, especially if you, I mean, especially men. Yeah, you got to bulk up a little bit. You can't be little skinny little wusses. Yeah, but beef, why beef? Why beef? People are being encouraged to eat beef in India. So anyhow, even today, most Indians, most Hindus at least, most, they don't eat beef. And thank the gods for that. So yes, you could say Hindus until now have kind of preserved their food taboos better than the Han Chinese and better than the Japanese. Sad to see what's happened to those cultures. They've been destroyed.